What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Tears Take. I'm your girl, Tierney. I am back with a recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 7. It's called Nashville Hold'em. Now, I love me some Nashville, okay? And I don't want these girls to be running amok, but you already know they are. So let's go ahead and dive into the episode. Oh, but first, gotta throw this in. If you do enjoy the content, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because that helps the channel and other Bravo lovers like yourself to see my content. So please help out. All right, now let's dive in. Okay, so the episode opens with Britt going car shopping. I told y'all before, I am fast forwarding through her personal scenes. So there's that. Moving on. Next, we have Angela and Drew. So Drew stops by and Angela immediately clocks her about the fact that Drew was lying about Michael Jordan being Michael Jordan's cousin. Here goes Drew. I thought I said I was kidding. I said I was joking. I'm like, ooh, this girl lies just to lie. It's a little scary, but yeah, it's a problem. So Angela clocked it, and I love that. So then they sit and they talk about like the peace brunch and, you know, things had popped off last time with Angela, or not, what's her name? Things popped off last time with Britt, popping off at Angela, popping off at Drew, getting all defensive and crazy. So afterwards, Britt did reach out to Drew, and she basically wanted to meet up for a drink. And when Drew was reading that text out loud, she put on her little nasally Valley Girl voice that Britt has. It was amazing. I was like, come through, Miss Actor. It was good. So Drew shares with Angela that she has a court date coming up. She wants to keep the record sealed. And then the Porsha topic comes up, and Drew says that Dennis and herself reached out to Porsha and Ralph and was kind of like, hey, here's the deal. Here's what we're planning to do. We're not trying to move funny. We're just trying to like get y'all on board, and that they were originally okay with it. And then Drew said, now all of a sudden they have a problem with things. I don't know. Like I said, I think the truth falls somewhere in the middle. I feel like Drew's story changes every once in a while, but Porsha doesn't always tell the truth. So I feel like, again, the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think they halfway told Drew, Ralph and Porsha what was happening. And I think Ralph and Porsha halfway listened and came up with their own assumptions and their own conclusion. Honestly, none of them can be trusted. All four of them. I give this side eye in some way. So moving on. The last important piece of this scene is that Angela mentions to Drew that Porsha is having a trip to Nashville and that everyone's invited except for Drew pretty much. And she said, you know, you need to come as my plus one. You need to come as my plus one. And, you know, Drew's kind of hesitant. She's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. No promises. And I think it might have been in a confessional, but Angela was like, well, Porsha didn't technically say no. So, you know, in my mind, that means, yeah, come. I'm like, no, girl, that's not what it means. So Angela's out here doing the producer's work. So, you know, I'm not entirely mad at her. So, you know, there's that. So then the next scene, Kelly is hosting the ladies. Kelly does a lot of like hosting. I'm like, okay, newbie, I see you. So Kelly has Cynthia, Porsha, and Shamia over. Cynthia and Kelly start talking about Cynthia dating again. And Cynthia said the youngins are after her. She said they want some TT. I said, okay, Cynthia, I see you. Porsha just lets herself in, walking in with her big old booty. And then Shamia comes in and I'm like, Shamia, what are you wearing? Did she always dress so terribly? I don't remember her standing out to me like, dang, that girl can't dress. But maybe I just never paid attention because it took me a while to catch on that Giselle from Potomac can't dress. So maybe it's the same thing with Shamia. Maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention. But this season, I'm like, there might have been maybe one season. There might have been one scene in all of the 7 episodes so far that I was like, okay, yeah, she's killing it. Most of these scenes, I'm like, even her cast photo, I'm like, what? Who gave you the direction for this? I don't know. I just want her to do better. I'm rooting for Shamia. I like Shamia. She's obviously has the lifestyle down. We just need the look down. Obviously, she's gorgeous, but we need the style down because, and y'all don't judge my style. I literally threw this on 2 minutes ago, so don't really come at me for that. Okay, so then Kelly fills Porsha in on the peace brunch because Porsha couldn't make it. She was sick. And then Porsha, and then the topic of Drew comes up, and Porsha is basically like, it is what it is. I'm just going to I'm going to keep her at a distance. I know who she is now. I don't hate her, but I just don't care. And then Cynthia makes the point in her confessional, like, she says she doesn't care, but she cares a lot. And, you know, and rightfully so. I would be in my feelings as well. But you know, if that's the case, just say that. Don't walk around, I don't care. Like, you care. So like, sit down and actually talk it through or zip it. But I'm tired of this like weird limbo with her and Drew. So Porsha brings up you know, her Nashville trip. She's excited to go. She's excited to bring the ladies minus Drew, plus her sister. Y'all know I wanted to see Lauren, her sister, and a few of her other like random friends. And she's just trying to get her Cowboy Carter on. So awesome. Ciao. So then we have a quick scene at Angela's house, and Angela was talking about the fact that when she got her nose done, it ended up being too pinched. And instead of going back under the knife, she opted for Botox because someone told her that it can help plump it back up a little bit. And her nose ended up, and her face ended up just swelling. So why did her son say that she looked like Yoshi? I can't. Kids be so brutal. The things that my son says to me, I'm like, so I get it, Angela. These kids have no chill and just cry when they're not looking. So Drew and Britt meet up for drinks, and right out the gate, Drew lies. I need a Drew lie counter at this point, because she's like, I was so happy when you reached out. Girl, no, you weren't. I would have been like, girl, you're lucky I came here. You're lucky I like this place and they have good drinks, because I was not trying to see you. Like, and then you can kind of talk, like, be honest. There's a way to, like, I don't know how you could be so, I was going to say, I don't know how you could be so fake. I don't think she's fake. She's just a little delulu. I don't know, but I was like, why lie about something like that? The things she lies about do not make sense. So she's like, I was so happy. And they basically like squash it. Like, they basically get to like a place of like understanding. Drew tells Britt, you know, it seemed like you were celebrating the fact that Kenya was no longer with us. And, you know, I just think it came off the wrong way. So they both were kind of just like, let's dead this. It's not worth, like, it's not that deep to just like have a crazy grudge over this. So they both were willing to move forward. But child, Drew was doing the Lord's work. This was my favorite scene, because then Drew, some of her little drink, was like, so did you ever sell it? And Britt's like, what? She's like, the cat. I hollered. So she's like, yeah, the cat. Did you ever? She said it so casually, and like I was living. And Britt's like, no. And she was like, and then it was like rapid fire. And then Drew was like, well, have you ever done PORN? And then Britt was like, she got all types of choked up. God was choking her on them lies. She got all types of choked up. Wait, stuttering. She's no, I know. Well, I will. So it took her about 3 minutes to get this out, and she eventually says no. And then she says, well, I never had intercourse on screen, but you know, a friend of mine and I did some webcam stuff where we were naked having conversations. Was this before or after the nose job? Because who is listening to you have conversations? Girl, hush and like bend over. Like, I'm sorry. Like, no one was listening to you have a conversation. And she's like, and then in her confessional, she's like, oh, I only did it for a week. Like, it wasn't a big deal. These girls did worse. Like, all right. For those who are watching this season and actually watching her scenes, how was that going for you? Because I'm exhausted in these group scenes. I can't with Brit. Anyway, so she's like, she claims she only did webcam conversations naked for a week with a friend. Fine. And then it got back to Brit that Drew had made a mention that she might know, the guy in the photo that Kenya showed of Brit giving fellatio to. And then Brit's getting all defensive. Like, she thought she was reading, but she really wasn't. Like, you just look dumb. She's like, oh, well, if you recognize it, does that mean that you sucked it too? Like, womp womp. And Drew's like, oh, no, I was kidding. I'm like, oh, here we go with the jokes again, Drew. So then Brit's like, it's not something to kid about. It's not something to joke about. I lost my livelihood. I couldn't get out of bed for 3. Same thing she's been saying for the past 3 episodes. We get it, okay? We get it. And Drew was like, I can relate to, there's always things out on the blogs about me. This divorce is heating up, and I can relate just having untrue things said about you, or people talking about you unfairly, and not feeling like you can get ahead of it. So like, they did relate on that. But that was by far my favorite scene of this, probably this season, because I said, come on, Drew. Drew earned her peach just with this scene. So then we have a scene of Ralph and Drew going to court, and Drew laid out that she has 3 agenda items. She wants to have Ralph move out. She wants to keep the records sealed, and she wants Ralph to hand over his financial records so that they can figure out what this child support is going to look like. The producer asked Drew, like, what's in the records? Like, what are we going to find out if they do unseal them? And Drew says it's more damning for Ralph. Like, she is like adamant that it's worse for Ralph, I'm just protecting him. She's probably protecting her kids. I don't know if I fully believe it. I do believe the angle of like, kind of like sacrificing yourself, right? Of like, I don't like this man, but he is my child's father, so my children's father. So I'm still going to protect him as much as I can because I'm protecting the family. I get that. I think there might be a little something in there too about Drew, just a little bit, because it kind of gets to the point of like, fine then, if you don't care, then I don't care, and let's just unseal it, and we'll explain to Johnny, Janie, and Joey, I forget her children's names, we'll explain to them when they're old enough to understand, because I'm not going back and forth with you if there were only bad things about him. I think there might be a little bit about Drew, but I do think it is majority damning for Ralph. So, child, Ralph is on his 3rd attorney. He is just the worst. And his attorney, Miss Precious, was like, oh, this is just a money grab. Like, a woman trying to get child support, that's a money grab? Okay, lady. So basically, their court session was only 20 minutes, and Ralph comes out smiling and dancing, clicking his heels, and basically he can stay in the house. The records are getting unsealed, and no word on whether or not he has to show his financial records or not. By the way, he was 2-stepping out of there. I'm assuming he doesn't have to do that either at this point. So Drew was obviously upset, and I'm just like, man, you just never know people. Like, how do you make children with someone, sleep next to someone for years? I love you, take vows in front of God. Like, I understand that things don't work out and you may need a divorce. I understand that, but I don't understand how you can just flip and like want to make that person who you shared a life with make their life a living hell. I don't understand that. Like, it is so crazy to me that like a man doesn't give his wife and children the home, and the provider that he claims he is, provide for them and go provide for yourself. You're such a provider. You want to live in the basement like a loser? You're pathetic. Ralph's a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And he's up here giggling and smiling and dancing and like making things difficult when she just wants to keep the family like on track. And she doesn't want this weird tension and this weird ass schedule of you in the basement, then you're upstairs, and then I'm out. No. Bring your financials. We can figure out that you get the kids on the weekend or every other weekend or every whatever. Week on, week off. Like we can decide on a joint situation. And like let's just be clean. He's like intentionally like dragging her through. And this goes back to that narcissism conversation. I remember watching Vanderpump Rules, and it was the Scandival season, and Lala was saying that her man, who she claims was a narcissist, she was like, while we were together, I could not keep this man home. He was always out, going here, going there. She said once I was trying to move out and trying to leave him, I couldn't get him out the house. He was just up in my face the whole time. And it's the same thing with that Tom Sandoval did to Ariana. He was always out, thotting and bopping, wanting to stay out, do this, do that. And then when she broke up with him, or when that whole scandal happened, instead of leaving like a man and like, okay, while we figure out what we're doing with this house, like, let me move in with a friend, like, let me move out, give you your space. He stayed there, and they had people going in between them of, okay, stay here. Tom's going to go downstairs. Okay, yeah, you can go out and walk the dog. Okay, wait 30 minutes. She's going to go to the back. No, be a man. Be a man. And now Ralph's doing the same thing. When they were married, he wanted to go off to Tampa for 4 days and not tell anybody where he was. And now that they're divorced, you want to live in the basement? Get it together. I can't. So, basically, Ralph was saying about the records. He was like, yeah, he basically wants all the records out there, because since some of his tea's already out, he's like, oh, well, let's talk about it all. Like, let's put everything out there. And that's another reason why I think there's a little something in there about Drew. I don't think it's more than what Ralph has, but because he is such a little bitch, he, wants to like make things rough for Drew at all costs. And he wants to just pull her through the mud instead of just being a man, taking the bullets, like cleaning this up and moving on. No, that's too easy. He wants to be a little bitch. Okay, I'm done saying that. I hope I don't get in too much trouble on YouTube. So then the ladies are on their way to Nashville, and my immediate thought was like seeing Porsha in her little like cowgirl outfit. I'm like, damn, she had some good work done. And I'm not trying to be shady. I just know allegedly that she's a fan of getting work, and no shade. She looks great. Like I was like, damn, she looks good. So anyway, Angela missed her flight, so she's going to be arriving later than the rest of the group. In the Sprinter van going to the house, Britt was talking about like her allergies or something, and she can't breathe or she can't do whatever. And Porsha was like, oh, do you have your adenoids? And she's like, oh no, I just had a nose job. And I'm like, we can tell. And girl, it ain't allergies. You're just botched, but whatever. And you up here buying cars every 2 years, like, because I did see that one part. I didn't watch the whole scene, but I heard the first sentence of the scene where she was like, honey, you said you're going to buy me a car every 2 years. You up here getting cars every 2 years. Why don't just man get you a better nose? Anyway, I'm sorry. So then they are greeted by a cowboy with some drinks. I'm like, yes, ma'am. They already have a spread of barbecue and greens, and I love the food down there. I'm like, yes. So, then they take a tour and pick rooms. Porsha gets the main master room, of course. And then Shamia was like, I'm her best friend. I need to get the second best room. And I'm like, oh, come on, foreshadowing, because that ain't for long. Most of the rooms, though, are like bunk beds or like twin beds lined up, looking a mess. And I'm just like, y'all couldn't find a spacious Airbnb where everyone could have, if not their own room, like a double queen here, double queen there. Why are there twin beds, multiple beds lined up like you're in boarding school? I saw a meme of someone, like a picture from the show Madeline. That was my show back in the day, in the books. This is what the Atlanta girls this is where it looks like they're staying, because it looks like a little boarding house with like these beds lined up, like a little group home. And I'm like, I guess I'm just confused, because when Beverly Hills travels, they get their own suites in Dubai. When I see Salt Lake City, when they traveled, they were in a villa and everyone had their own room and own bathroom. Like, why is Atlanta 16 years in still rolling like this? Production, can we get a budget? Can we get a budget? Can we get a piece of a budget? Because how much money has Atlanta raked in over the years being your number one show? They're not number one right now, but let's not act like they weren't like the cash cow for a very long time to get you in position to have all these other franchises that came along afterwards. Like, y'all need to do right by Atlanta, because no. So once they choose their rooms, they're back sitting down as a group. Porsha is tearing up some ribs. I said I would be right there with you. And they're just eating and like chilling, settling in. And conversation turns to Angela. And Britt was like, yeah, she switched up on me. And I don't know, Britt, shut up. Angela comes in not soon after, and she can feel like that energy of like, okay, y'all must have just been talking about me. So Angela clocks that immediately. I'm like, her discernment is spot on, because she's been clocking a few things this season that I'm here for. So I'm enjoying her right now. So Angela mentions to the group, that Drew may show up. She still wants to come. And, I get it. Like, Porsha's annoyed. She's like, it's my birthday trip. Wham. But I'm like, girl, Porsha, you've been in the game long enough to know that this is a cash trip. So, production is going to encourage Drew to show up, and is to make it make sense. They're going to have a cast member bring her in. Yeah, like, it's annoying because yes, in the real world, you wouldn't invite someone that you're not cool with. I get it. But on a reality show, when it's a cast trip, you need to have your cast there, especially people that are having drama. Duh. So it's like, it's like, I don't know if Porsha's getting her acting on, but she's up here. This is my trip. Whatever. So then Britt tried to press Angela about like whether or not, Angela is being fake with her, like whether or not, like, because Angela's just trying to come in peace, and she's just kind of like trying to be cool. And Angela and Britt's trying to like be like, oh, like, is this real? Like, or were you real now? Or were you real then? Like, just trying to like needle her a little bit. And Angela stood firm. She was kind of like, little girl. She was like, oh no, I love everybody. Like, she stayed very calm, very cool. And also, little girl backed up. Like, it was great. I loved it. And because she didn't give her anywhere to go. So like, she let it go and they moved on. I'm sure it'll pop up again, but for now they moved on. And then so Britt is back in the room with Kelly. They're sharing a room, and Britt's up here like, oh, I brought locks in case anyone wants to get funny. And I'm like, girl, you're not in prison. You're not in a halfway house. What are you doing? She's all right, Britt. So then Angela goes off to the side. She calls Drew, and she's like, yeah, the vibes are good. I'm like, no, they're not. But she's basically trying to get Drew to come. Drew says that she's in a sensitive space after the court date, but, she also needs to get away after the court date. So she really might come. And that's kind of like where they leave things. So then the ladies start getting ready, and they go out for a night on the town. And then Porsha was talking to Cynthia at one point, saying that Angela was aggressive because as they were doing the room tours, there was a pillow that said all are welcome. And Angela was like, oh yeah, it says all is well, all are welcome. And then I think Porsha tried to grab it, or one of them had it and the other one tried to grab it. And they were playfully like just being silly, because she's basically saying, hey, all are welcome, right? Like, Drew's coming, it's going to be okay, right? And so they were both going back and forth. But then when Porsha was retelling the story to Cynthia, she's like, oh, and she was aggressive. And I'm like, roll the tape on when Porsha has been aggressive, girl. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because she said it, or she said something akin to it later on. And so anyway, they all go bull riding. there is a quick little cut to Drew back in Atlanta, and she's celebrating that she got a record deal. And where is she celebrating? She's celebrating in Dennis's club. And as she's getting a bottle to her little section, she FaceTiming Dennis. She's like, "Hey, bro, I got your bottle. Thank you." Drew, come on, Drew, because when I could try to defend you with working with Dennis, doesn't make sense. But when you do more funny things like that, I'm like, come on, Drew. Like, some of those things are unnecessary. And some of those things, like, might get your behind beat. Like, I'm just saying, like, so, Drew, you're not doing yourself any favors if you care about being friends with Porsha. You can't possibly care. So if you don't, keep doing what you're doing. But if you do care, you chill out. So then, cut back to Nashville. They all sit down, and Porsha, someone had asked, like, "Where's Drew?" Porsha tells her friends that Drew wasn't invited, but Angela's trying to have her crash here. And Angela was like, "Girl, you said it was cool. Like, we left it on a cool note." And she said, "No, you pressured me. You pressured me." And I'm like, again, honey, I don't think people can pressure or strong arm you into too many things, Porsha. We've seen way too much to sit up here and act like we're not buying the little, like, Bambi in the headlights act anymore. We know who you are now, Porsha. So it's not working. So, Angela clocked it. She was like, "No, that's giving bully. Like, it wasn't like that. I'm not like that. Like, chill out, whatever." So then Porsha gets booked because now she has an audience and she has more of her friends with her. Then she gets booked. "What kind of glue is in your mother head that you think you can do this? Again, Angela was like MVP of this. Like, it was probably Drew with that scene, and then Angela was second MVP, because then Angela clocked this again, and she was like, "Oh, she's doing the most of her friends. Like, she's, she got an audience. She's just trying to get bold in front of her friends." And she's like, "Listen, I got a size 12 shoe. I have no problem standing on my own." I said, yes, Angela. She has the type of energy that you need on this show, especially with people like Porsha. Because you're not about to do all this to, on the one hand, say, "Fine, whatever, it's whatever. I'm just going to have good vibes, and it's my birthday trip, and I'm not going to trip over that." And then when you get an audience, it's all this rah-rah. No. So then, one of Porsha's friends asked Porsha why she and Drew fell out. And Lauren, her sister, chimes in like, Drew was just doing like extra stuff outside of the music she just wasn't moving the right way, and it's been upsetting to Porsha. And then another friend says, "Oh, you mean she sucked Dennis's?" And then Porsha want to act all shocked, like, oh my gosh. But then in the confessional, she's like, "Well, that is his thing. Like, that's how he keeps his body count balanced, because he just has a lot of girls give him what." All right, Porsha. We like how much did you pay your friend to say it? How many times did you guys rehearse the back and forth and the dialogue? Fine. No one, I don't know. I think Drew is moving hella crazy. Can't really make a whole lot of excuses for her. I don't think she wants Dennis like that. I don't think she's like sexually involved with him. Even if she was, Porsha, you said you don't care. So wouldn't you have just deaded the conversation? Like, nah, he can do what he wants. He's still a great father to PJ. I don't care. I just don't want to mess with Drew. That's what someone who doesn't care does. But all this, oh my God. All right, girl. Anyways, y'all, that was it. I am not going to hold you too long. Overall, this episode, I appreciated Angela's energy throughout the episode. And I appreciated Drew in that one scene. Other than that, okay. Hopefully something pops off on this Nashville trip. But this season has been so disjointed. And it just got me like, we waited 2 years for this. Like, it's falling flat for me. It's not it. It's not giving. There's just not a lot going on right now that I actually care about. Let me know below if you feel the same way, especially after a 2-year hiatus. Like, this should have been, there hasn't been one episode this season that I wanted to rewatch. I rewatched most of them for the recaps, but it wasn't like, oh, that was so funny last night, I want to watch it again, or oh, this was so what. No, there hasn't been, I have not felt compelled to watch any of these episodes again from an entertainment standpoint. So that's where we're at. And I am a rewatch girl. Like I'm a rewatch girl. It brings me comfort. But like this season, no. Let me know below if you feel the same way. Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear, who was your episode MVP. What are your predictions for the rest of this season, or maybe what's going to happen on this Nashville trip? I want to hear from you. Please comment down below and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this content, please check out the rest of my other videos. I have recapped Beverly Hills and a few other franchises over the past couple of months. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And I'll see you all in my next video. Thank you so much for rocking with me.